Coach Penny here for the football engineer, and today we got Darian Rodrigues, baller for Shawnee State University. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Let's get right into it. What's a day in the life look like as a baller at Shawnee State University?
Day of my life is, as of right now, I don't have classes until Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, we have weights at 7 a.m. We got to be there by
Okay.
like 6:50, 6:55. We have weights from 7 to 8. Then right at 8, we get out to our like basketball court, which is like literally 10 steps away from our weight room. And we put on our futsal shoes and we have a futsal class that we have. It's
There you
mostly
go.
just the soccer guys and a couple of the soccer girls. We all take it, we all play, and then I gotta leave 30 minutes before that class ends. I take the shower there at the school, and then I rush to my biomedical ethics class, and then that usually ends about right around 10:50. Then I walk to the cafeteria that we have. I eat food. Some of the guys usually show up around then. If not, I usually just study by myself there for a little bit. And then I drive home. I live off campus. I live at home with my dad, my mom, and my little brother. So I enjoy that more than kind of being around like at the dorms. I go to the dorms to hang out with the guys and everybody, but I like having
Yeah,
like my own space and being able to like shower by myself, shower and like take my time,
yeah,
kind of just having those little things. And so that's about it. Nothing too crazy. In season, it's a little bit more hectic. I have a lot more classes on campus. I would think I was there. I think I had Fridays off, and we would have training at right around 8 a.m. We have to be there by 7:50. And then we have training, and right after I got to rush to a class. I can't remember the class off the top of my head. And then go to the cafeteria, eat with the guys again, and then we have a gym session later that we do individually. So we have to keep ourselves accountable, and then go home, study for forever is what it feels like,
yeah.
and then that's about it.
And then you mentioned your biomedical class. What's your major and how intensive is that? How do you manage both being how do you manage being a student athlete?
It's got its days for sure. So my major is physical therapy and
Okay.
health science. So I'll be graduating with 2 degrees. So I'll have a bachelor's in health science and associates in physical therapy assistant, I should say.
Okay.
It's tough. It's really tough. My major is a lot of studying about human anatomy, human biology, anything medical related. It's
Yeah.
not as intense as like being like a doctor or something like that, having to go to like a nursing school, but it's pretty hard. The amount of studying I did during the fall was at least 5 hours a day, probably spaced
Yeah.
out. I remember like right before the term was going to end, I had a big final and I studied every day for like 4 hours before the final, and I barely got a C. So it's tough, man. It's got to like a lot of my social life kind of gets sucked away. I have a long
Yeah.
distance relationship I have with my girlfriend who's back home in Oregon. So being able to balance that, that's tough. And being able to balance soccer and school, it's really tough. Thankfully, our sessions are really early in the morning. And if we have anything else that needs to be like a big team meeting or something, watching film, they'll be later at night around like 10 or something. So I have like the rest of the day to really focus on myself and focus on school. And I also work at my local movie theater. So I have
Okay.
to manage that as well, but they compensate a lot and they're really helpful. I feel like if I didn't have a job that understood like my schedule and like
Yeah.
my needs and every day, I don't think I would be able to work. But I'm kind of just time management is number one. My dad is my coach, so he really, it helps a lot with him. Like growing up with him, like always being critique and hard on me about time management. And same with my mom. Both my parents, I always talked about growing up and really wanted to play college soccer, and they always told me, you got to have the grades and you have to have good time management. Student athlete, student comes first, so always have to worry about school first.
Yeah, and then you kind of touched on your dad being your coach. But what was your recruiting journey like? How did you choose to attend Shawnee State other than having your dad as a coach there?
Um, so my dad being the coach is like a really big piece
Yeah,
because I always told my dad, he was always like, like if I get a job here, like what if I got a job in this state, would you go? And I'm like, Dad, like it's free school, man. I'm not going to beat that. I've always been big about
yeah,
free school at like the lowest cost possible because at the end of the day, I'm very fortunate that my parents are paying for my school, and so I've always wanted to try and go somewhere where it was as cheap as possible. And so I
Yeah.
started off going to a community college that was like 20
Okay.
minutes from my house back in Oregon, and I wasn't really focused on playing soccer. I was really focused on just going to school and kind of just figuring it out. I didn't really know if I wanted to continue soccer or not. I kind of hit
Okay.
an area in my life where I was just kind of like, it was hard to play soccer because it was just so intense and it was so demanding. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go a year in school and I'll play for my dad's club. He had like a U19 team, so I always jump
Okay.
into sessions, just do something just to, because I love the game. I'll never stop loving the game. And then
Yeah.
my dad told me, hey man, like there's a job out in Ohio. Show me a map of the US. I don't even know where Ohio is. So I was like, you know what, like, okay, let's just go. And he showed me the school, and I really enjoyed how small the campus was. I've looked at these other like big schools like Cal State Dominguez Hills. That's one off the top of my head. It was just a really big campus. It kind of stressed me out too much. I really like Shawnee State University because it's a small campus.
Yeah.
Everybody there is a student athlete, is what it feels like. I could be talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the swim team." And I'm like, "What the heck?" Like I didn't even know that. Like, and like everybody kind of knows each other. If not, they know names of everybody. So it's a small community and everybody's really tight. And also the school's just really easy to navigate. I'm in the same building for all my classes,
Yeah.
and so it's super easy. I don't feel like overwhelmed. It's not too chaotic. So, and I really enjoy that. It's just I think the amount of space it is, and also my dad's a coach, so that helps a lot with funds and everything. And so it's just really easy for me to die down to it.
Yeah, it's always nice to be like in a small community type school as well, where everybody knows everybody, and like it's also easier to. You're also not just like one person in a giant classroom with like
Yeah,
500 other people. At a smaller school, you get to know everybody and know your professors better and stuff like that too. And then what was
yeah,
your
for sure.
toughest moment so far as a college athlete, and what did it teach you?
My toughest moment was probably this season,
Okay.
or this past fall, I should say. We started off really strong in our
Yeah.
preseason, like really strong. We were the first time ever we beat a national ranked opponent. And this year, I didn't really get to play as much as I did my freshman year, just because freshman year there was not as many players. So I
Okay.
had a lot of time, or a lot more moments to show myself and also just to play. This year I didn't, and it was just because we had more numbers, and I'm like a smaller person. I'm a small dude. I don't really like pack a punch. I'm not really the most like menacing person. So there's at least 2 games where I didn't play. One of them I was sick in, but 2 of them I didn't get to play in, and I wish I was able to contribute more. But one game, he put me in for about 8 minutes, and I got man of the match. I was my whole we were down 1-0 off of a simple mistake. Mistakes happen, and we're playing against a team that really wasn't the best that we faced, but it was still a challenge. And we were battling a lot of, I think, mental challenges at this point of our season. And, nobody was really like locked in, I think, or they were just having a hard time. I got in and I was just like, only thing I thought about was just winning. Like, how do I get this for my brothers? Like, how do we win this? And I
Yeah.
remember I got the ball first thing, just laid a tackle on this kid, bro. And I was like, I already knew I was in the game, bro. Like, nobody's stopping me. Then I get this ball, I shimmy a kid off me, cross it in, boom, 1-1. And then we went a man down, and my coach subbed me off. And I realized in that moment that, like, doesn't matter how long you play, just go in with the intensity of the match and go in with a purpose. And
Yeah.
as long as you do that, then you'll be successful. And that's what I did. And I came out, was rewarded man of the match. Only played 8 minutes, and I felt really accomplished, and that really like boosted my spirits for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and then you mentioned briefly about being on the smaller side. They have you listed at 5'5", 127 pounds. How do you manage the physicality of college soccer being on the smaller side?
Uh, it's tough, man. Going from the West Coast, it was a lot more simple soccer. Like
Okay.
I played in LA, I played in Oregon. It was a lot of fast movements. I didn't really, had areas where I had to be in physical contact. Out here,
Yeah.
man. First practice, bro, I'm playing against a guy from Greece. What? I've never played from anybody from Greece. I have an Italian on my team, Spaniards. I have Brazilians. Like, I've never been in an environment like that where we only had 4 Americans, including my or without including myself, and it was just like big challenge. Like I was like, I didn't even know what to do. I'm getting tossed or thrown around, and I'm like, damn man, like I'm gonna have to, like, I didn't know. And then my dad told me, like, you're gonna have to draw fouls. Like you're gonna have to like try and like act out like getting hit and just going down. I've never done that before. I've never done that. So I was like, all right, gotta just try it. And one game I drew like 8 fouls, bro, and I was bleeding. I got punched in the face right here. I was bleeding
Oh
from my
man.
eye, and I was like, damn, man. But I felt crazy. I felt like good because I was like assisting my team. Whatever helps my team in the end. I don't care if I'm bleeding. I don't care whatever, bro. I'm all for it, bro. And during the season, I really had, my dad told me play to my strengths. I'm really quick with my feet. I have really fast feet. I'm very dynamic. I'm very I have a lot of soccer IQ, so I played that a lot to my advantage. I kind of can tell in the plays when I'm going to receive the ball, and I already always know since I was young when, like, what I'm already going to do with the ball before I even get at least 3-4 steps ahead. I already know.
Yeah.
And some of those times where I'm like, damn, bro, like I'm just gonna get this ball and I'm just gonna take a foul. I'm gonna dribble and just let this kid just kick me, bro, and I'm just gonna have to just take one for the team. But I think overall, just playing to my strengths. I'm small, but that's a big strength. Other people think it's a weakness. I think it's a strength. People forget about me sometimes. Like Messi, for example, he just walks the
Yeah.
field. That's sometimes what I do. I kind of just walk the field. I wait until the center backs or their six kind of forgets about me, and then boom, I make a play. I sprint to a piece of space and then just cross the ball, ping it to the other side. Boom, we have the advantage. So probably just finding my points is what I do.
I mean, it's also, even as players get bigger, it's also hard to play against small players because, like I said, you have a lower center of
Yeah,
gravity. It's harder to knock you off the ball. There's a lot of good things to come from small players. And you look at Messi and others, like Lorenzo Insigne, he's like 5'3" or something like that, 5'4". I think he's smaller than you are even. A
yeah.
great player for Italy as well. You mentioned that you moved around a lot, so you've also experienced a lot of different coaches coming up. How did that shape you, kind of seeing different soccer cultures around the country and experiencing different coaches often?
So I've played in Hawaii, I've played in California, I've played in Oregon, I've played in Wyoming, I've played in New Mexico, I've played in Colorado, and now I play in Ohio. They all have their different unique features. Hawaii was very, like, everybody there had a good touch. The grass was always like kind of concrete-ish, and they all
Okay.
had a baller touch. California, man, everybody's a baller in California. There's worst kid in California is the best kid somewhere else. Oregon was really intense, with really high physicality, really athletic. Wyoming was more of the same, just brute force, no technicality, not a lot of technicality, I will say, but just brute force. Colorado and New Mexico kind of had the same pace. Like they kind of decide when they're going to turn it up and when they're going to turn it off for a little bit and mellow out and then turn it back on. Ohio is really athletic. A lot of these
Okay.
places, the most common is just a lot of athletes, man. Everybody out here is a football player. They come from different sports, multi-athlete
Yeah.
sports. And so being in all those different cultures, I kind of figured out, like, kind of where I fit in personally. I'm not athletic at all, man. I'm not gonna, beat somebody on the sprint. I'm gonna beat somebody on, being smart with the ball. I'm gonna outsmart your midfielders is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure that, if you're giving that space, you're cooked, bro. I'm gonna play that last pass and somebody's gonna score a goal and we're gonna be the team celebrating. And so, I really thrived. I figured out I thrived in the play style that's really, bounce, moving the ball quick, not keeping it on your feet for 5-6
Yeah.
touches, and then in moments where there are times when, you just got to go at somebody, take those 5-6 touches and use that space and utilize it to your advantage and help your team.
And then, out of all the places you lived, where was your favorite place to live?
Probably California when I lived there with my dad. I love the culture there, man. Everybody loved each other, dude. Like, I remember I would go and watch when my dad was coaching at Cal State Dominguez Hills, I would go and watch and kind of take notes in my head and ask some of the players. When I was more of a freshman, I saw you had Kenny Lee and
Yeah.
the other six, Diego. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
I saw you had them, and I talked to them a couple times when I was there. I think my freshman year of college online. I was talking to them. I saw them play. They're ballers, dude. When I was a freshman in high school, though, I went there. That's when my dad first got the job, and I would talk to a lot of the players and kind of get into their heads. And I also talked to Eddie Soto and Eddie Garcia and kind of understand what they see in a player and
Okay.
what speaks out to them in a player, and kind of get in their minds of a coach and take that into a player's perspective and say, okay, how can I improve in these areas and everything. And also, I remember I would go and kick the ball after the Cal State Amigos, the men's team was done training, and the girls were there, and they were just so like nice, and they were so invited. They're like, "Yeah, you can come, like, just come train with us right now." And I was just like in Oregon where I grew up, it's not like that. The culture is not that inviting.
Yeah,
So I just love the culture there. Everybody loves each other. Everybody's just so chill with each other. Like I just loved it, man. It felt like a really big family.
definitely. And then besides getting the advice, what was key in your development as a young player that's led to your success today?
Um, I think for me, just wanting it more than somebody else.
Okay.
I remember there was a time when I didn't really know if I wanted to play soccer. Like I didn't really. My parents never like put it on me. My older brother, my dad was more like strict on him to play. Like was
Okay.
really on top of him, and he learned that maybe that's not the way that I should go about me. So he was a lot more laid back, and he was just like, you know what, you do whatever your heart wants to do.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of rec when I was older. I didn't play competitive soccer until I was about 13 years old, and that's really
Okay.
when I was like, I really want to play. Like I kind of fell in love with the game again. I just couldn't stop playing. I was just obsessed. I was obsessed with the game. I couldn't stop watching it. I couldn't stop like asking my dad, "What can I do to be better? What can I do to be better than the guy that's better than me right now?" And he would give me a lot
Yeah.
of crucial advice, a lot of criticism. And there are some points where it's hard because when I was younger, I would look at my dad and say, "That's my dad." Either not yelling at me in a negative way, but yelling at me just in a way to put a presence on. You have to do this and this and this if you want to get better. And that was hard because I couldn't differentiate my dad and my coach. Now that I'm
Okay.
older, I'm able
Yeah.
to. Now I'm able to be like, okay, that's my coach talking to me. That's not my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I think the key to my development is just being obsessed. It's just
Okay.
really being obsessed with the sport and wanting to get better every single day and doing whatever it takes to get better. And just being on that grind. I love being on that grind, man. There's nothing more like exhilarating than just pushing and pushing and pushing. And I've had a lot of haters in my time, and just being able to prove that I'm more than what you expect, basically.
And then do you feel like you always felt like there was more pressure with your dad being a coach in your playing time?
Uh, yeah, I think so. I think there's a couple times when I was younger and I'd go to like ID camps and stuff like that. I think there was a lot of pressure, but as I've gotten older, just think in my mind, I don't really care if
Yeah.
people think this or that, then they have the wrong idea because I'm not my father. I'm not my older brother. I'm not my younger brother. I'm my own self. I play
Yeah.
differently than how my dad did. My dad played in the Bronx. He played in LA. He played everywhere. He was just big. He was this big beast, just super physical. And that's not me. I'm very dicey with it. I'm very dynamic. I'm very smart. I take my time on the ball. I'm relaxed. I'm always calm. I played a lot of different soccer. Even our coaching philosophies are different.
Yeah.
But there are times when I pick his brain of his physicality part, and I try to understand that as much because I was never a very physical person when I was younger. I was very soft and very timid, and as I've
Yeah.
gotten older, I've and had to deal with like my own life, just life situations where you're like, all right,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I gotta be on top of it, man. I gotta be a little bit more brute about things. And so now that I'm older, there's not really any pressure. Probably since I was like 17, there hasn't been pressure. I haven't really thought about it.
And then for a young player trying to make it to the level that you're at and replicate your success, what advice would you have for them?
My advice would be is to ask yourself how bad you want it. Would be my advice. If you just go, not I don't know, then that's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay not to know. It's okay just to take your time and to relax. But at one point, you're gonna have to talk to yourself and really figure out like how bad you really want it. Because if you want it that bad, you'll push yourself and ask for advice and go out there and want it that bad. I had a friend in Wyoming. His name was Garrett Morris. We're still good friends. I remember when I was younger, I was like I don't really know, but he was always about I want it. I want it more
Okay.
than anybody. And he did that. He trained every single day, would juggle, would do, even now I watch him on Instagram. He does like 5 around the worlds with a tennis ball. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't even do one. Like, that's crazy. And he plays Division I soccer now. And that was just like, that was like, man, like I saw it since we were both in middle school, man. Like, he wanted it that bad. He got it. So I
Yeah.
take what he did and I turn it into like my own advice. And I go, if you really want it that bad, then whatever you're dreaming of will happen.
Yeah, definitely. That's great advice. And then I hear you began your coaching journey. How long have you been coaching?
Like with my own team, like right now, actually, I have my own official team. I'm a head coach of a
Okay.
U17 team here out in Ohio. But I've been taking like picking apart different coaches' brains since I was about maybe like 14. Like I mentioned, Eddie
Okay.
Garcia, Eddie Soto. I've watched their
Yeah.
sessions. I've watched and I've imitated a lot of theirs. I watch my dad's sessions every day, and I watch a lot of. I read a lot about Jose Mourinho. My dad has a book in his office. When I was about 15, I read the whole book front and back. I
Okay.
read everything, and I just try and understand Beast Mode Soccer. I watch a lot of his stuff. My dad is close friends with him. I watch a lot of his stuff, and I just try to understand what the purpose of the session is. What is it trying to show this player, and what will they gain after the session? So now that
Yeah.
I'm a coach, my philosophy is a lot of bounce soccer. There's a lot of bounce soccer. I really want
Okay.
my players to be able to take 1 to 2 touches, man, 1 to 2 touches, because that transfers to every team and everywhere in the whole world.
Yeah.
Being a good dribbler, that's something that is a individual skill, and I cannot
Yeah.
fully teach some like the skills of somebody like Lamine Yamal, Neymar Jr., Ronaldinho. I can't teach that
Yeah.
to somebody that lives in Ohio, for an example. But what I can
Yeah.
teach them is how to bounce the ball 1-2. Where's the space at? Because that will always be there, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of my coaching philosophy is a lot of just bouncing, a lot of quick passes, quick movements, checking your shoulder. Just the simple fundamentals is what I teach and what I will be coaching on for probably until I stop coaching. It's just mastering those fundamentals.
And then what's something you've learned so far in your short amount of time of coaching?
Something I learned. I think that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing's ever guaranteed. As in playing time, playing for 90 minutes, going to 30 minutes, going to, no time at all. Going to,
Yeah.
being the star player to going back to, oh, I have to develop a little bit more. And even now as a player, in club, when I first moved to Salem, Oregon, when my dad was coaching over there, I went from being like being a bench player. I was on the B team because the A team was just like, I had a lot of numbers and I wanted to play as much as possible and also develop. And, when a coach has 40 kids, he can't really develop everybody equally. So
Yeah.
I moved to the B team, which had a little bit smaller pool of players and 2 coaches and sometimes even 3. And it was a lot easier for them to really die down on each player individually and help them, grow. And I went from being the bench player to playing 90 minutes. And then the next year when we had tryouts, I got on the A team, but I went from a 90-minute player to like a 30-minute player.
Okay.
And so, it kind of kills the confidence every now and then, but, you have to go, okay, I'm at a higher level now. The level's different. Maybe the play style is different. The coaching is different. Something's different, but you have to know that if you're a baller somewhere else, you're going to be a baller anywhere. You just have to find that grind and find that level up. You can't plateau. It's okay to plateau for a
Yeah.
little bit, but then you got to get over that hill. So something I learned is nothing is guaranteed.
And then how did your youth development and your time as a player shape who you are today as a coach?
I think seeing all the types of different play styles, seeing
Okay.
what players can go through mentally and physically. Coaches don't really know everything. They don't. As much as they want to know, like my dad wants to know everything that's going on in a player's life, not just like for anything bad, but just knowing like if they're okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, man, like I remember some of my buddies would just be going through it, if that's with a relationship breakup or a passing of somebody or something that's just mentally challenging, and it's just
Yeah.
hard. So going to a coach, I'm never gonna like yell at the kids. I'm never gonna have this sense of like anger or anything, bro. I'm always gonna be calm, but I'll always tell them if I do yell, it's because of intensity purposes and of a match and just raising that level just a little bit extra.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to be relaxed, calm. I'll bring everybody in so we all have, a nice paced conversation, and just checking in on the athletes. My dad does a really good job of that. We once a month or twice or once every other week, my dad brings
Okay.
in athletes individually, just asks like, "Hey man, like how's classes?" And then after class, he goes, "Okay, like how are you doing? How are you doing? Like be honest, man." And he's had, players cry in his office. He's had to like let players go, and it's just you never know what's going on with an athlete. So I think
Yeah.
learning that, I'll be implementing that into like my coaching style and also like as a person individually.
Yeah, definitely. I think, players, we go, as a player, we definitely go farther when we're connected with the coach. We definitely feel like then
Yeah,
we can run through walls for people that we feel connected with once we build that trust and that bond. So it's important, especially with youth players, that they feel that they have somebody in their corner that's there to guide them and also develop them, but also somebody that, they like to be around and trust. That definitely goes a long way in the development process because when you trust somebody, then you're more open to hear what they're trying to teach you, I think, in my opinion.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And then where did your love for the game come from?
Oof, it came from my dad and my older brother and my uncle. As a younger brother, so I'm a middle child. But at one point, I
Okay.
was the youngest. My goal when I was younger was to always be better than my older brother. And that's my little brother's goal is to be better than me and my older brother. That's his goal. And I'm always gonna help him so he is better than me. I always had that like that like grit to like I want to one up my brother because my older brother always one up me in everything. So I was like, okay, what can I do to one up him now? So I would literally try everything. I try to juggle more than him. I try to, my dad will be in denial of this. I was born left footed and then I transitioned to right footed and then now I'm
Okay.
ambidextrous. But that was one thing I had to one up on him is that he couldn't use his left foot like for his life and he still can't. And so I had that one up. And then also, I would go and watch my uncle play a lot because my uncle was a baller. He will be in denial, but he was a baller. He played for the U.S. youth national team. He played with the U17s when he was like 14. He went to Costa Rica and he scored a bicycle kick in a stadium against Canada, and like
Yeah.
he was a baller. And so watching him play and just like seeing him, like I remember one game, man. I went. He was playing Sunday League. Sunday League. You go to Sunday League, you think everybody's like they're not the best,
Yeah.
and he's like playing against this guy, like dicing this kid up, and then I'm like, and then this one guy's chatting, and I'm like, oh, like who's that guy my uncle's playing against? And he goes, oh, that was an ex LA Galaxy player, LA Galaxy center back. What the hell? What? And then he's just like just playing for fun, but like not even sweating. I remember I was like, Mikey, like, do you think you can hit a bike this game? And he goes, I don't know. Let me try. Kid crosses him the ball, chest gets a chest trap on it, bounces it over a kid, bikes it, scores. I'm like, what are you on about, bro? Like, he's just a different breed, man. Even still now, being a little bit older, he's still a baller, bro. Puts on the shoes, bro, and he's just back when he was in his good days. And seeing my dad coach, I remember I'd go to every single coaching session he did, every single session, because I was just like, was in love with it. I love passing with my dad. That was like my favorite thing. Whenever I got to, I just wanted to pass with him. So growing up around that, I just wanted to play the sport because everybody around me did.
Perfect. And then what what life advice would you have for people? Just general life advice.
That impossible is nothing. Impossible is
Okay.
nothing. That word does not exist in my dictionary, in my vocabulary. Impossible is nothing, just nothing, just doesn't exist. Anything's possible as long as you have the drive for it. As long as you drive and put all your commitment to it, then it's possible.
Yeah, I love it, bro. That's one of my favorite quotes personally. I got some quick fire questions for you so we can get to know you a little better. What's your favorite genre of music?
Rap, rap, and Mexican like EDM, like Mexican like
Okay,
bass music, and Brazilian funk. Some Mexican funk, Brazilian funk, and like rap music.
there you go. And then who's your go-to artist in pregame for for warm-ups and stuff?
My goodness, that's a good one. I listen to like a lot of Brazilian funk. I don't know their names, but it's whatever like my Brazilian teammates play, and
Yeah,
I will listen to it, and I like get into that mood. Like I start dancing on the field a little bit. I juggle with the ball. I dance. I'm like I'm just feeling it. I like
yeah.
to listen to Baby Keem, like Family Ties, bro. Right before a match, oh, I'm
Okay,
just dialed in, bro. Nothing stopping me. Playboy Cardi and Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny.
there you go. That's a great list. And then what's your favorite club to support? What club do you support?
Real Madrid. I support it because my dad and my little brother are big Madrid fans. They went to the stadium. I think last year around around like last May, they
Yeah.
went, and my brother says it was the dopest experience. But I will rep some Barca jerseys because they're just tough. I have the old Kappa Barca jersey and the Travis Scott Barca jersey. Only two Barca jerseys I have because they're just sick, bro. You can't pass them up. They're tough jerseys. So
And then
Real Madrid for sure.
what's your favorite jersey of all time?
Wow, that's a good one. My favorite jersey of all time is one I'm currently trying to get. It's the Kelmy old Real Madrid jersey, the purple and white, the
Okay,
Kelmy one. That's gotta be my favorite one of all time, bro. I'm trying to get it right now.
there you go. And then who's your favorite player of all time?
My favorite player of all time is this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be Coutinho,
Coutinho.
and
Yeah,
Thiago Alcantara. Yeah,
yeah.
those two, bro. I watch every and probably like I'm gonna say three, probably Mesut Ozil as well. Those three tens, bro. I watched every single highlight video ever. I just loved how they play. I love how simple it was, and it was a true 10 position, true 10.
Yeah, yeah. And then who is your footballing idol? If you have one that's maybe different than your favorite player, who is your footballing inspiration?
Ronaldo, CR7. My dad told me a story about him about like these two new guys just got transferred to Madrid and they showed up 2 hours before practice and Ronaldo was already there. And then the next day they showed up 3 hours and Ronaldo was already there. And then the next day
Yeah,
four and Ronaldo was already there sweating. So once my dad told me that story, I think my freshman year of high school was like when like my commitment to the game shifted completely because whatever I thought I was doing was enough wasn't. And I started going to I remember when I my freshman year of high school all the way until I switched high schools, I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I would walk to my soccer field, which was like a 5 minute walk. I'd walk with a bag of balls and cones, and I would train by myself for an hour. 6 a.m. arrives, the girls would get there. I would ask the coach politely, like, "Hey, could I jump in your session? Even if it's conditioning, anything, can I just jump in? I just need more touches. I need that. I just need to improve." And he said, of course, I'll never deny you of that."
yeah.
Jump in. We train from 6 to 8. My team would show up. I would train with the high school boys team. From 8 to 10, I would go home, eat. I would watch soccer. I'd watch something related, and then I'd go back around. I'd train by myself. Oh no, I train by myself from 3 to 4, then 4 to 6 with the girls, and 6 to 8 with the guys. And I did that every single year from my freshman to junior year.
Yeah. So a lot of hard work there. And like I said, Ronaldo's a great inspiration for that. Who's your favorite coach? Like professional coach, I should say.
Professional coach. That's a good one. I would probably say, oh my God, that one, wow, that one got me. There's a lot of good coaches, but I'd probably say Pep. I'd probably say Pep. I like his philosophy. He introduced Tiki Taka along with Johan Cruyff, and so I'd probably say Pep. I watch a lot of his, and his philosophy fits a little bit more of me and
Okay.
how I coach. My dad watched a lot of Jose Mourinho and Controlled Chaos, and so I always looked up to him, but it didn't really fit me personally, so I had to understand that and kind of go my own path. So I'd probably say Pep.
And then what's your preferred formation if you have one?
um, my dad did this formation actually this year, and I actually don't know like really what it was. It was kind of like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He kind of just threw it all together, and we played this team that we played. We had to play them twice. We played them one in season and then one to try to get to playoffs. And the first time we played them, we were just not in it. I don't know what was with us. We just weren't in it. And then he kind of switched it up. He would have our striker or something. I don't know what it was, but he would have somebody jump down and become an extra six
Okay.
and go back up forward. But
Okay.
it was so quick that if you just watched the game, you couldn't tell what position he was. The other team couldn't
Yeah.
tell. They couldn't tell how to counter it. And we were able to get a goal like in the first 15 minutes because they just couldn't counter it. It was just like, even the coach came over and told my dad, he goes, I don't know what you did, but that was the hardest game I've ever had a coach through because I didn't know how to counter you. So I would probably say whatever that was. I don't even know what it was, but other than that, if I didn't have that option, I'd probably say a 4-2-3-1. That'd probably
Yeah.
be
It sounds good.
my pick. Have that. Yeah, just like having that 10, just a solid 10. I feel like a lot of today's game, we lost a lot of like a true 10 position. I just like having
Exactly.
a solid 10, somebody that's just there. Like your one job is just to make that final pass or to take that shot and score a goal and just play your soccer, play your soccer.
Yeah, definitely. And what you were explaining kind of sounds like, I guess, maybe like a false nine or just like a 10 kind of just dropping in deeper is what it kind of sounds like, at least to me.
Yeah, it's probably what it was.
But what's your favorite jersey number to wear?
7 will always be 7. I'm a big fan, obviously, CR7. I'm Portuguese, so I'm gonna always rep 7, and 7 has always been my lucky number, even before watching Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I'm born August 7th. My brother is born May 7th. My dad has a 777 tattoo for my little brother. So 7 will always be my number in anything, school related, sports related, any medical related, anything. 7 is my go-to number.
There you go. Perfect. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. It was a pleasure to have you on and chat with you a bit, get to know your journey, and we'll make sure that we tag you here at the end of this video so that people can continue to follow your journey and hopefully good things to come for you in the coaching and playing world. It's exciting to kind of make that transition into coaching and see it from a different angle. So hopefully that goes well for you.
Yes, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for all the questions, and thank you for saying those final words. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's it for this episode. Next time, Coach Pena.